This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
Hello. This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Pierre Novelli. You can text the show on 81215, follow us on X and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, email via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk. Welcome to the show, sponsored this morning by Radish Soap. So, they're not actually sponsoring us, but they send us free soap and I use it, stuff. It's that sort of soap that's called stuff like sandalwood and reticence.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Morning
lovely.
mist.
It's lovely. And if she's still there, Tash Skinner is who sends little parcels.
Oh.
No relation.
I was going to say.
Well, she wouldn't be, would she? Because Skinner is my stage name. I don't think it works like that with the stage names.
No.
So,
Frank, were you at Green Day?
well,
I've got
I
evidence of you there.
it's very exciting because Green Day, who obviously do enormous gigs, were doing Camden Electric Ballroom last night, which is not small, but small for Green Day. And I managed to get tickets, and the queue was round and around and around the block.
We've seen photographic evidence of the queue,
Okay.
and Craig Jones has actually been in touch. I don't normally approve of this, but I'm going to let this slide, Pierre, don't you think?
Yeah, it's earned its place.
Because I think we should share this. Craig says, my wife and her friend are at the Green Day show at the Electric Ballroom Camden. They told me, I think they were very excited because they were in the queue behind you, and they tried to take a sneaky selfie and accidentally put a Peppa Pig filter on you.
Oh.
It's worth a look. You've got those strange glasses, those sort of white...
No, I don't. I was wearing those. I think they're all right. They didn't worry about that. That's what I look like off stage.
Yes.
I think we should share this image.
I think so.
Anyway, good gig, Frank?
Well, it was I was very excited indeed, and doors open at 7. I got there about 20 to 7. So there's a massive queue, so we're standing outside in the cold a bit, and so then it got to 7. There was a little bit of movement. Oh, we're going to go in. It's going to be a Green Day. And it holds about 1,500, I suppose. Like I say, it was all intimate and exciting. Friday night in Camden. In case you don't know Camden, it's a bit like, you know, the cantina in Star Wars. If you can imagine that as a town.
Yes.
So, well, you know, we were really excited. And then all these security men came up and said, it's cancelled. It's cancelled. And the way they did it, someone said it's cancelled, and the one behind him said, yes, it is really cancelled. I thought, don't bring your own verification.
you
And
would
it was
say
cancelled. It was
that if you're on the same
cancelled
team.
at 7 o'clock, just as the doors was opening.
Do we know what?
Yeah.
The reason?
And people were saying to me, oh, you know, before they're saying, yeah, we've seen them arrive and everything. We saw them arrive earlier. So I'm not condemning Green Day because who knows?
Who knows what it is?
Who knows what it is? But
Although
even
it's November,
so,
they should be up by now, Pierre. Okay? Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you, everyone.
Very good.
But it was. I'll tell you one thing that was lovely about it is that after the cancellation, we didn't go at first. You know that moment when you need to see it on Insta or something because you think, well, they could just be guys in high vis. We knew, really. But we stood there, and there was a bunch of youths the other side of me, to the ladies you're talking about, and who I'd never normally talk to. Hooded youths.
Urchins.
Yeah, but just, you know, youths, people who... Obviously, someone my age not going to approach them. I've got a career to think about.
There's often a bike involved.
Sure.
But, you know, I'll tell you what it was like. You know when a train stops in the middle of nowhere and suddenly you start talking to people you'd never normally talk to? And we just started really chatting about the fact it had been cancelled and there's the tour in the summer and all that. It was a really nice moment. I think I would have liked World War II for the chatting point of view.
When you're in the
as long as I was back home,
Yes,
obviously.
in the bunkers.
Yeah, I'd be
Yes.
lousy in action.
I think you would have enjoyed the haircuts of World War II.
Yeah, well, I've tried to go World War One with the haircuts, but which is a nice thing for this weekend. But we just all started. It created a community, that cancellation, and relax.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
So, sorry, I heard the in-breath.
Well, we're just getting a few of your Q friends getting in touch. It does seem like there's a whole an entire community now built up around this.
It's very
incident.
bonding to be in a purposeless queue.
Yeah.
An enforced crowd.
Especially in Camden on a Friday night, the air thick with cannabis and foul language.
And of course that jazz.
Oh, I hate that. Is the Jazz Cafe still there?
Yes,
Is it?
it is.
I don't. Okay. Michaeli.
Yeah.
I'm going to go bold and go for Michaeli with this spelling. It might be Michelle, but I'm going Michaeli. We weren't that far behind you in the Green Day queue.
No.
We've been hanging around all afternoon, almost frozen, so gone for a warm-up in the pub.
Oh, I see.
A likely story.
There were chairs and sleeping bags and that at the front. So some people, I think, had slept overnight.
Ooh.
I heard about a woman who flew from China for this gig.
What? Really?
About that.
Oh.
I was moaning about getting the 24 bus. I must say about the 24 bus, but carry on.
Michaeli says we also didn't leave immediately after the cancellation.
No.
It's now being referred to as the cancellation.
What to do?
Green Day had arrived by 6. Michaeli's got some inside info here.
Oh.
Green Day had arrived by 6 and sound checked, so it was a shock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We know that they'd sound
And not
checked.
only that, but she had to go through that last night, and today she has to sit by the radio going, "It's Michelle! It's Michelle!"
Well, I think Michaeli is a gent,
Oh.
because that's why I've gone for the Italian pronunciation, but I may be wrong. All will be revealed in the fullness
I
of time.
wonder if he's with his comets. Anyway,
More Green Day.
How bad?
now I'll
did
tell
the-
you something about Green Days.
Oh, yeah.
I
They
know
don't
you
want to be
will.
I
an
was
American
standing
idiot.
there. No, they don't. But
They're reluctant
Yeah.
to be an American
a
idiot.
lot of people don't want to be one.
That's just
Do
true.
they still wear eyeliner? They loved eyeliner. I know it was My Chemical Romance.
It's a massive floor filler.
What is
Eyeliner.
An American. It was never mind. I met a bearded man appeared as I stood in the queue.
Oh, yeah?
A black bearded man, like some sort of piratical figure.
Did he have a glittering eye?
He did have a glittering eye,
Yeah.
and it was the husband of our producer, Sarah Spracklin.
Matt Spracklin.
It was Matt Spracklin.
If ever I was not surprised to hear
Yes,
that
well,
someone was
exactly.
at a Green Day gig.
Well,
it's
I imagine
Matthew
he just
Spracklin.
walks around Camden all night.
Did he have a full-length leather?
as sort of atmosphere.
Yes, yeah. The council covers that.
He's paid.
Keeps the tourists coming.
Exactly.
He's paid by them.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what was nice is because I was a bit gutted about the cancellation, to say the least, because I was, you're up for it. I was in gig mode. And he checked his phone asking someone, trying to find out more about it. And on his screensaver was our producer in her wedding dress, grinning. And I thought, oh, love. And then I turned to these young people next to me who I'd been talking to, and I thought, we've all started talking because of this love. Love is still in the air, I thought. And then I remembered I could go home and watch the season finale of Loki. And I thought, yes, we all have our own outlets for love. And I just felt better about the whole thing. But there was an incident on the 24 bus, which I must share with you. But let's first have this.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I was coming home from the gig that didn't happen.
Yes.
Oh, the Green Day.
You left your
What do we
community
do a
behind.
text in on that? Most memorable cancelled shows that you've
Yes.
been involved
But
in?
that's not most memorable cancellation. That's a whole other.
No, I think it should be a show of some kind. We'll include All In Wrestling. I was once at a wrestling gig when I was a teenager, wrestling gig, and Klondike Jake was supposed to be on, who was like the early prototype for Giant Haystacks. There were brothers, Klondike Jake and Klondike Bill. And the excuse was Klondike Jake will not be. He was on the poster. Klondike Jake will not be here tonight after all because he's in Glasgow. Well, that's not an excuse, is it?
I mean, that's a
That's
choice.
just saying he can't be in two places. Yes, but he's on the poster. Honestly.
Make something up.
I was at a Kenny Rogers gig at the Albert Hall, and there was a bomb scare, happily a hoax, but even so. We didn't know that till the next morning. And so it was a quick evacuation of the whole place. We were all standing outside to see if they'd let us back in. And we saw Kenny Rogers go past in a limousine leaving the Albert Hall. And I sang, "Look, Old Yeller is leaving," which is a line from Coward of the County. Some of the crowd didn't like it because they loved him so much. I loved him and was still able to laugh at him in a warm-hearted way. So I'm on the bus talking about the cancellation. And a guy, as I was getting off, said, "Excuse me, but I heard you saying that you're at a jig that had been cancelled tonight." And I thought,
Mr. Fezziwig?
yes, it was the big event of the night until you said jig. And now that's what's going to live with me.
A jig?
Yeah.
But now...
Oh, I love him. He's like something out of a restoration comedy or something.
Did he misunderstand? Was he wearing breeches and long knee stockings? And...
Does he think it's called jig?
Yeah, well, listen, many, many years ago, I was in a band and we were practicing at a local church hall, and we were very, very loud, and the police were sent for by local neighbours.
Right.
What was the
All
band called
neighbours
again,
local.
Frank?
That particular band was, I think it was called Old English, after the cider, which I just started drinking. I was 15. And the policeman arrived, and he obviously thought, I'll do a bit of community policing. And he said, "So have you done any jigs yet?" So it is, there is an underground
So there's an underground. One policeman in 1902.
and an old guy, open bracket, my age, on the bus last night.
So there's a sort of Illuminati of people who say jig.
I say jig, yeah.
But
It's a code, isn't it?
Yeah, but is there still a chance that maybe he thought
That I'd been to a jig.
that he thought you were dancing around a big wooden barrel of ale and dipping
Well, he
your
said
hands
to
in?
me, I said, yeah, it was Green Day, and he just went, I don't know who that is.
Frank, he said jig. You're surprised he doesn't know
Well,
who
why
Green
did he
Day
even
are.
ask?
He said jig.
Why did if he was from the past, why was he even asking
He wanted
about
you to say, well, did you do any reels? Did they play Spanish ladies? Any naval songs?
I mean, the guy said jig. I don't even think he's up to Glimpse of Stocking yet.
No.
Let alone Green Day.
Maybe not. But it cheered me up. Pre-Loki.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, you were talking about your cancelled Green Day jig,
Yes.
and Kat Oterhannon has got in touch. At the height of their fame, Carter USM. You're familiar with them?
Unstoppable, yeah.
Yes.
Breakfast. Can't say it, breakfast. USM.
Breakfast machine. Cancelled a jig with the very un-rock and roll excuse that their guitarist had sustained a back injury while cleaning a bath.
Wow.
Gosh.
If only he'd had matey, which cleans your bath as well, even though
Yeah.
your kids have to sit in bleach.
Yes.
Yes.
And slowly
Wow,
go blonde.
that is... Yeah.
Yeah, that makes something else up.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Steve, saintly 67, I'd be a nice friend for you, Frank.
Yeah.
My very first gig was meant to be XTC
Oh, wow.
in 1980, but the lead singer fell off the stage, so unfortunately had to cancel.
Oh, so the gig began.
Went to see Ultravox instead. What a decision that was. They were brilliant. What I'm unclear about is when the XTC man fell off the stage, exactly,
Yeah.
was it in the sound check or at the beginning?
Yeah, maybe. I still class this as a cancelled gig if it goes early on.
Yeah.
Me and my partner saw Ladytron once, I remember, and they did one song and said, nah.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know, it's a technical thing or something. It sounded fine. And they said, we'll be in touch about, never heard from them again.
We'll be in touch.
Still waited. Whenever the phone rings, I always think that'll be Ladytron.
You pick it up and say, Ladytron? Is this about the jig?
Say you, Ladytron. This is about 20 years ago. Nothing.
Oh, I knew you'd call.
We'll be in touch.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure you can end a gig that way.
Ladytron.
What
They're all talk.
What is it about? Because there's a thing when you're a stand-up. All my most memorable gigs are ones where I didn't have to do it and still got paid. Those are the ones that lodge in my memory like precious jewels.
Yeah, well, I drove all the way to Aberystwyth.
Oh no!
And to the student union, and there was posters of me up and stuff. And
It was a rough
all
gig,
set.
I've heard.
This was in my early days.
Yeah.
And I was driving. What about that?
Yeah.
And the ENTS officer, do they still exist?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so the ENTS officer got up, and people were sitting around in the room. First of all, there was music on. So he got up and he turned the music off, and everybody there went, oh. And I thought, right.
Yeah.
And then he said, we've got a brilliant comic, Frank Skinner, on tonight. Can you just come and all sit near the front? Because they're all over. Come and sit near the front. He said, come on, come on, move over it. Right, you get no comedy. And he just walked off. I said, hold on, what's happening? He said, no, not doing it. He said, they're going to be like that. I said, do I still get? He said, yeah, you'll get paid. And then a guy came over and said, oh, I was really looking forward to that. It's not going to happen. Remember, he had a Wings T-shirt on.
Of course he did.
And he's a really sweet guy, glasses, and he said, it's not going to happen. I was looking forward to the comedy. The ENTS officer said, you want to tell them then? Don't tell me. It was really horrible. Oh, my goodness. By the way, I've had a letter from Richard from Solihull, posh, and he has sent me a badge with a sort of a saint, old saint on it, and it says lector, Lector. Lector is a sort of a teacher in the church. Bit like me. That's the inference from Richard from Solihull. Nice, thank you.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
So I went home
And enjoyed some Loki.
and watched the what they call in America the season finale. It's I like, if there's anyone now panicking thinking there's going to be spoilers, don't panic, because the big plus is I don't really know what happened even though I watched it. I've now watched 6 episodes of Loki in this second series. In case you don't know, Loki is the god of mischief, brother of half-brother of Thor.
Yeah.
That's Tom Hiddleston, isn't it?
It is Tom Hiddleston.
You like him?
Well, and yeah, a lot of people don't. Well, in fact, your mate Phil Wang was on Room 101 and tried to put him in, and I wouldn't let him. I wouldn't let him in because of his Loki-ness.
Oh, is that what saved him?
What's
Such a
Wang's
good
issue
Loki.
with him?
I think...
Is he a bit jelly bags?
no, I think if you watch the video of...
A lot of men are a bit jelly bags.
If you watch the video of Tom Hiddleston doing a Robert De Niro impression to Robert De Niro's face on a
Yes,
chat show,
I have
Oh,
seen
yes.
that. But
you
we
will
all-
leave changed.
But that's
We
not
will.
what he does, is it? That's his sideline.
It clearly is
Have you
what
ever
he
seen
does.
his Michael Jackson?
To be fair, Pierre,
Also terrible.
we were all traumatised by that impression.
Yes, but there's a lot of that kind of...
What about I Heart TS?
Oh, do you want to explain what that is?
When he went out with Taylor Swift, he wore and it wasn't even a T-shirt, it was a singlet.
It was.
He wore a singlet with I Heart TS on it.
He's a bit cringe.
I think
But
he's just
he's
confused.
a really, really good actor, and that's what his thing is.
Yeah,
He is.
I think the people's issues stem from when he's not pretending to be someone else.
Anyway, yeah. Well, anyway, the low-key thing. I've. Here's the thing. Can I ask you this as a? You like guys watch American series?
Sure.
Sure.
When
Sure.
another, I'm going to call it. I'll go with it. A season is beginning. Another season. Are you supposed to do prep? Are you supposed to go back and watch the last series before? Because I'm watching this thinking, I watch it with my son and I say, what? Any idea?
What sort of show are we talking?
It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. But Marvel have got so excited about the multiverse that things are almost impossible to follow.
I
But
think
it's
Well,
a
I
really.
told you.
It looks amazing. The performances are brilliant.
I think, as you know, my problem with those things is when there's no relationship talk or no one sits down and
I
says,
didn't
"How
say
are
there was
you?"
no relationship.
No, I know you
I
didn't.
think it's, even though it's set in a sort of strange timeline multiverse when they work for a mysterious agency that sort of governs the world, and there's a man in it, a mysterious man at the end of time called He Who Remains, which I think I might use as my next Edinburgh show title. But even so, I find it more realistic than the realistic dramas.
Okay.
Yes.
You get because I have no idea what's going on, which is much more like life, and also I'm constantly aware that I've forgotten crucial information.
and that you should know people.
Very, it's realist drama.
Do you
at its
end up
best.
having to Google while you're watching it?
No, I won't do that. I haven't looked up anything.
I don't think you should feel bad if it's Marvel. I think if it was anything else, it would be all right. But someone's totted up all of the hours of Marvel you have to watch to be caught up. And
No,
obviously,
but I've seen it. I
haven't
saw
got
it.
time.
but it's the difference. If it had just been one previous series, that would be, say, 7 hours of 7 episodes?
Yeah.
It's something like 49 hours
No,
of
but
Marvel.
for Loki, I've seen all the Lokis.
But they intersect. There's all these
I
little
don't
Easter
think that's-
eggs.
It's not the problem.
People
with
stick
Loki.
their heads through the door and
Are
say,
you still
"Oh, it's
talking about
me."
the comic?
Look, it's not Loki, it's me.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
Anyway, this is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Pierre Novelli. Text the show on 81215. Follow us on X and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk.
Frank, in the light of your cancelled Green Day gig,
Yes.
Johnny Snell has got in touch,
Okay.
as have many of our readers. Johnny Snell has had a cancelled gig. Ian Brown, Newcastle O2, floor collapsed 4 songs in.
Oh, wow.
Whether that was the stage or the seating area.
See, had
I
it
don't
been
know.
a punk gig in the age of pogoing,
Oh,
you could have understood it. Or Demis Roussos.
It's quite a medieval reason to cancel a
It
jig.
is, yeah.
Yon floor hath collapsed. The planks.
No,
Yes.
but that was anyone would have known if anyone was hurt.
Oh, let's hope so. Guna John. Hi, Guna. I think 1989, sat in traffic on the M25 en route to Wembley to see the Rolling Stones. Came on the radio that it was off as Keith Richards had stabbed his finger restringing a guitar.
Wow, that's the most Keith Richards injury.
That's what you
and
want.
I don't believe it for a minute, but I love it. What I'm saying is,
You could see the piercing marks in his arm.
I think the Rolling Stones, I can imagine the PR coming up with that excuse.
Oh, I don't know.
Do you
I
believe
like
it?
But at least
I'm a naive.
but at least it's rock and roll adjacent. Whereas the cleaning
Yeah.
the bath one, you go, oh.
No,
that's
what
nothing
are
to do
they
with
even
music.
doing near a bath?
Yeah, exactly.
What kind of rock stars are they?
Yeah, with a little duck practicing their scales in the bath.
Yes.
Regarding,
Go on. No, over to you, please.
I remembered during the news, because I said that as a stand-up, I remember a lot of the gigs very fondly that I didn't have to do but still got paid for. Although the Aberystwyth one is a bit far to go for that.
No, exactly. I'd done all the hard work.
Yeah, that's it. I was booked to do a Cambridge College May Ball, Peterhouse College May Ball.
Oh, yeah. God, you hear some tales about wild drunkenness at those things.
It was a very... Well, even in the context of Cambridge May Balls, Peterhouse is the only one, I think, that's white tie. So
Right.
Oh, it's all gone about Elton John.
it's full on, like the collar's up to the jawline.
Oh,
you
God,
know.
does Dracula go?
If Dracula went, he'd be underdressed. he'd say, what do you mean I have to wear a different...
You mean I can't come in?
This is
I
discrimination.
was not told
Yeah.
about dress code.
Calling across to a friend. They won't let me in. Open a window.
They have to invite me in. It's a whole thing. Don't get me started.
You didn't. We
So
didn't
go on.
discuss food allergies. There's certain things I can't eat.
You know,
Yes,
there's
black
these
pudding is
European
fine.
Yes.
listeners switching off all over Britain.
All switching on.
All
Yeah.
switching on.
They're going, here we go.
How do they know it's happening, though, if they're not... If they have to switch on. Anyway, carry on.
Other senses.
Yeah.
So I was booked to do some stand-up at this May Ball, and that's always a tough gig. A friend of mine once had to do a 20-minute stand-up set, stood on a stool by the cheese queue.
Oh,
And that
wow.
went about as well as you can imagine.
Yeah.
So they're quite difficult, these gigs.
Yeah.
And because you're not in a ticketed scenario, people can come and go as they please.
Yeah.
So you are a bit of a P.T. Barnum version of a stand-up. You're just in a tent in an enormous facility of fun and distraction. And people will sort of stick their heads in, watch you do the setup to a joke, and just wander off before the punchline. But something very unusual, even by those standards, happened at this gig.
Let's leave it there.
Okay.
I'm intrigued by this.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Okay, so we're at Peterhouse, is it?
Yeah, Peterhouse College. And it's white tie, so everyone looks proper like Bullingdon Club.
Yeah.
Like not even James Bond, but one level above that. Tails and things. Mad.
Yes.
And my contract was to arrive at midnight. And the gig was at 1 a.m.
Okay.
in the sort of in what I was told was the Bursar's Garden. So I thought, okay, I did a half-hour set in the Bursar's Garden. And I thought, okay,
We've all been there, dear.
yeah. But I thought, well, they haven't told me I have to dress any particular way, so I showed up wearing just sort of jeans and a hoodie.
Yeah.
And got sort of checked in by the people running this big ball, and it was all happening all around me, and they gave me a little map of the grounds.
Yeah.
And they said they pointed on the map, they said, this is where the gig is. And I said, okay. And I walked along with my performer's wristband, getting dirty looks from everyone all dressed up, because I was stinking up the place
Yeah.
with my hoodie and jeans. And I followed the map, and I arrived in a completely dark patch of lawn with hedges on three sides, with sort of some picnic tables that some people were sort of sitting on way over on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
But no stage, no lights, no microphone, no nothing. Just some grass in the woods
It's just a man talking.
at night. But there was nothing there. There was no.
Yeah.
There were also no expectations. Those people were on those tables with some food from stalls nearby.
But if you don't perform, you don't get paid.
But there was also no one there to check.
Okay.
And I sort of stood in the dark in a field,
Yeah.
basically, in a sort of a lawn, and looked around, and there was nothing.
And did you do your set?
There was no way to do it.
Oh, did you get paid?
I did, but I stood. I
You
stood.
got paid
Absolute
to
outrage.
stand there.
Well, I did my time. I stood on the lawn for the half an hour, looking at my watch and thinking, but how is this supposed to happen?
Well, you did a thought transference set.
But there was nothing there.
I did one at Leicester University, and everyone went to the Christmas shopping. It was
Yeah.
for the staff, and there was 6 people left.
Yeah.
And I said to the bloke, am I still doing the gig? He said, well, if you want to get paid.
Yeah.
So they sat at a table, and I just stood at the table.
Oh, that's depressing.
Yeah, like, when they did close-up magic from table to table.
Yes,
I just
yes.
did that and did 25 minutes of stand-up. with them going.
Going, oh yeah, I've been there. I considered doing that, but I can't emphasize enough that it wasn't like these tables were set up to be something.
No.
They were there sort of overflow seating for people who'd got a burger from the burger stall.
No, it's bad planning.
And I stood there and I sort of thought, how is this happened?
Oh, it's like overflow wedding gigs. I went to a very posh wedding where they actually had seating outside where there wasn't room for those in the chapel. That's insulting. You don't, and I heard people saying, "Are we outside?"
With the overflow wedding.
It was a celebrity wedding I went to.
But at the end of the allotted time, at about 1:45 in the morning, the organisers...
Did you bow at the end?
To the stars, to the empty night sky. At the end of the time, the two sort of organisers, and I will say these gigs are all organised by students, who are also doing their exams and things. So there's always screw-ups.
That puts confidence in you.
Oh, well, And they sprinted up to me wearing their organised... They have to wear sashes, and they've got earpieces. It's all very Mr. President. And they ran up and said...
Miss World?
Yeah, or Miss World, or both. Donald. And they sprinted up to me and sort of said, is there... And I said, there's no stage or lights or microphone. And they went, we're sorry, oh God. And they offered me the chance, in quotes, to go and redo the whole gig at the actual stage, which was in a different part of the building.
So where were the punters? I don't understand.
They just forgot to set up a stage or for anything to happen. They just completely screwed up.
I always carry a cheese stool in the bar for those moments.
But they said, would you like to go to an actual stage? There's a gap between bands, so you could do your set there now. And I said, nope. I did my time. I'd like my envelope,
I did
please.
a gig in an alcove once in Manchester where no one sitting in there could see me. They could hear jokes, but people had no idea where it's. They thought it was just coming over the tunnel.
You're like a Phantom of the Opera.
I was just tucked round the corner, like you put a statue in a little alcove. Oh well, but look at us now, eh? Look at us now. No, don't look at us now.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
I think you might have made quite a good roadie.
Do you think? I won't wear blue jeans though. At my age.
Okay, well, you and Neil Diamond ain't going to get on. 8. Yes, I threw an 8.
Oh, yeah, good on you.
Tom Jones was due to perform at York Racecourse in 2018.
Right.
I can only assume it was a good payday.
I've done Cheltenham Racecourse.
Of course you have. It was when the Beast from the East storm hit us. Tom had recently spent a week in hospital. The PA announcer kept promising the soaking crowd he was on his way.
Oh, it was an outdoor gig. It was literally... Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
I wish he'd come round the corner like three lengths ahead of the support act. Go on, Tom.
And at 8 p.m, when he was due on stage, it was announced he would not be coming as the helicopter had turned back because it was too dangerous to fly.
Wow.
That's Paul from York. Paul saying, did it ever take off, I wonder?
Oh, I bet Tom would have braved you. And what about when I met Tom and I said, I've seen you live a couple of times, Tom. I wish you did the young New Mexican puppeteer. It's my favourite. And he said, well, it's a bit naff, isn't it? And I said, yeah, that's what I love about it. And he couldn't embrace that.
Did he not?
No, the idea of good naff was beyond Tom.
It is the maddest song.
Oh, it
What is?
The young New Mexican puppeteer.
It's about, in case you don't know, it's about a young boy who makes some... he got some string and he got some wood. He did some carving and he was good. Folks came rushing so they could hear the young New Mexican puppeteer. So he makes puppets of people like spiritual leaders.
Why?
To inform the world, to give, bring peace.
It's a song about a weird boy who makes educational puppet shows happen.
Yeah.
And how popular they became. It is
Well, you
the
know, he's-
maddest.
I mean,
As he said.
Delilah's not a strange song.
Yeah, but at least it's got recognisable themes. I mean, go, well, you know, there's the spurned lover, the jealous lover, the young New Mexican puppeteer. These
the
are the
young-
stories we see over and over again in Shakespeare and myth and
Well,
legend.
if it was in Homer's Iliad, it would have an adjective that always goes with it, like swift-heeled,
Yes,
whoever.
yeah.
But with the young New Mexican, you get his adjective is most concerned. In a town near Albuquerque, there lived a most concerned young boy. Yeah.
He doesn't sound very well realised as a character.
Well, I love the song. It's, you know, you get the whole thing. It arrives in kit form. He makes these things, and
I
it
think-
talks to the people.
Oh, now you said that it arrives in kit form. You've really sold it.
No.
Well, because we see him carving the actual main characters. How often does that happen in a song? I can't think of another one. Songs where the main characters are carved during the actual performance. 8, 12, 15. I'm looking forward to these.
Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Frank, we sometimes discuss strange things, don't we, in the breaks?
We do.
And I was discussing, I can't remember how we got onto this subject, but we were talking about Colonel Bogey.
I think we were talking about, I don't know, rhymes.
Yes.
Yes.
And there's in the actual...
You and your poetry.
The song, the Colonel Bogey, which you may know, goes da 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 da, and features lyrics about
Okay.
some of the chief figures in the Nazi Germany setup.
And they're a little bit, as that football fan once said to you, was it Millwall fans? They're a little bit naughty.
Yeah. But Himmler had something similar. It's still a fantastic rhyme.
But I
Absolutely
recalled
brilliant.
how that... Can you sing the refrain briefly?
Da 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 da.
Was a car horn sound in the... Am I going...
No, I think you're right. It
Was
was
it?
more. It was that.
Really, all sped up and
In the
intense.
70s, you'd hear...
And you also get for the Mexican
What
fans.
was this
Yes.
whole thing with bespoke
And
car horns?
there was a
For the young New Mexican puppeteers.
No,
there
you
was
didn't
a-
get that.
Their
Yeah.
car.
there was that one as well.
Yeah.
Why did the bespoke car horn die out?
I
At
don't
12,
know.
15?
I wonder if it became illegal or
Yeah, are
something.
they legal?
Do you think so? Oh, that's a shame.
What would be the most surprising snippet of music to hear on a custom car horn
I think Barber's Adagio for strings.
for a very long traffic jam?
I'd like it if you could just choose. I think you should be able to choose the music to suit
Like
your
on your
brand.
phone, yeah. I'd like theme from The Big Country. Da na 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 na. Watch that person crossing the. Da 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 da. When
I'd
did
have
people?
Carry
By the
On.
way, when did people stop looking when they crossed the road? When did that happen?
I think it's a London thing.
Is it? Even this
On
morning,
GB News.
the people, they just look. It's like they don't even think about it. I'm so frightened when I cross the road. Also, I was raised on Tufty Fluffytail.
Do you know Tufty, Pierre?
Beg your pardon?
Can you
It was,
explain
it was a
Tufty?
squirrel who explained the
rules of the
do's and
road.
don'ts of crossing the road.
Which, frankly, I
This
don't...
came from a family of roadkill. To him, it meant something very intense.
Tufty Fluffytail.
Yeah,
Right, so he had seen so many of his
I was
brethren
a-
splattered.
exactly. Yeah,
Oh, I never knew that. You see, I was a member of the Tufty
the
Club.
Tufty Club. Yeah,
Were you a member of the Tufty Club?
This is the first time hearing about the
Yeah.
Tufty Club.
Oh,
Yeah.
you had
There-
to join the Tufty Club.
There was a cartoon
it's
hedgehog.
gone now, of course, with the rise of.
There was a
Fine.
cartoon hedgehog.
Okay.
in Australia.
Please stop that.
I didn't get there.
No, I know, but I know where you were going.
I know. Well, I never
And
go there.
I know-
I don't go there. I just take the ring road. It's
Okay,
as simple as that.
Okay.
I grew up with a sort of cartoon hedgehog.
Oh, crossing the
Wow.
road.
Animated
See, it's
cartoon
another
hedgehog.
roadkill reference.
Yeah.
Was that in South Africa?
This is here.
Oh, I thought you might get an impala or something.
Yeah.
Oh no!
What did you have in South Africa? Do they have road safety?
There's mainly about being hijacked.
You can't have a squirrel talking about being
Got a squirrel
hijacked.
saying, "Make sure you've got a pistol in your ankle." My name's Tufty, and I'm heavily armed at all
Yeah.
times.
Don't you dare come
When
anywhere
the
near
going,
me.
when the going gets tufty, the tufty gets going.
Frank Skinner. Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Okay, next.
Well,
Come along.
I like next. Next
I don't
is
like
good.
silences on the radio. Oh, actually, there will be one at 11 o'clock, which I do like.
Well, I was going to say you picked the wrong day.
Yeah, I know.
Clive Izzard.
Oh, yeah. Couldn't be.
Could be.
Well, you never know.
Who knows? Mate of mine had Strangers in the Night as his car horn. I quite like that.
I
Frank.
can hear that because it'd be, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I don't know how many. Yeah, it can't be any other part of the song.
No, I don't think so.
Too wistful.
I used to stay with a lady in Tottenham.
Oh, I don't
Just
know.
want to go limericks, Frank.
There was Tottenham's a hard rhyme.
I was going to say also, a bit of
Certainly
a-
on breakfast radio. And there used to be a dog close by. And
What do you mean there used to be a dog close by? Did she
Tottenham.
have
No,
the
a
dog?
neighbour had a dog, and when
Okay.
the dog used to bark, it used to bark the beginning of the American national anthem. So the dog would go, oh, 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 oh. And I always used to wait for the, and it never got there. Oh, 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 oh. That was how it barked.
Star-Spangled Banner
The dog was constantly trying to get it going. Oh, say,
Well, that
can
was
you
its
say?
bark. I mean, it just happened to its bark. Now I'd be doing a tour of as an internet influence. You know the cat that goes,
Yeah,
Do you know that cat?
Sometimes I'm a lone
I'd be
cat.
taking the dog a tour of America. Oh, 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 everyone would stand up.
Yeah. God, you imagine the reaction at us, one of those very sort of Republican, patriotic sort of rodeo crowds.
Man, and they'd complete it. Maybe you can find other
they'd
dogs
love that.
other,
They'd find
other
a-
dogs that completed the jigsaw.
A dog
And
per line.
it would have to be a bloodhound.
So what? Maybe one dog
yeah,
just
yeah.
did the "arr" for that note.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like a
And then
big
they can
orchestra.
find, they need to find a dog.
Big cowboys would be nudging each other. That English dog is all right.
Yeah, they'd be sobbing.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Donald Trump wouldn't like it because, as we know, he doesn't like the dogs.
A lot of dogs, a lot of singing.
Terrible people.
Attitude.
Terrible
A
people.
lot of people are saying it.
Dirty animals. Very
He
dirty.
died like a dog. Died like a dog.
Too much drool.
Disrespectful. Don't let the dog sing it. That's what I say.
Very selfish people. Steve Isaac has got in touch. I went with a mate to see the Three Johns in Harrogate. Harrogate, do you say, Frank?
The three Johns.
Oh, don't question me. I've not heard of these people.
I know the tenors, but I didn't know.
The Three Johns. They're like a Harrogate version of the Three Tenors, maybe.
Maybe.
Back in the 80s.
Right.
Only half a dozen people turned up, unfortunately, so they had to cancel.
Two per John.
The bonus was they sat and had a few beers with us instead.
Nice.
Do you know, I love the Three Johns.
Yeah, we should check them out. I think they're on Apple Music. Yeah. I want to. Yeah, you never know. Just because 6 people turn up, that don't make them bad people.
No, it's enough for a jig.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I went to a 3 John jig.
3 John jig, yeah.
Bakesman's Tooth.
Yeah.
I don't know either. I think it might be your dentist we were discussing last week, Showbiz Dentist. Arrived in a rush to see the Rolling Stones.
Oh, I arrived in a Rolling Stone to see Rush. Now carry on.
I was going to say at Ajax Arena in 2003.
Oh yeah.
Jig had been cancelled
Oh no.
whilst we were on the flight.
That's.
We were arguing with security that we could hear the crowd. But we were told it was just the trains at a nearby train station.
Oh no, how terrible. I can hear the gig happening that we've been told is cancelled. Oh, that's a sad
Oh,
story.
terrible.
Oh.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Pierre Novelli. You can text the show on 8 12 15. Follow us on X and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email us via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk.
Okay. We've had all sorts of Rolling Stones excuses for gigs being cancelled.
Oh, really?
Well, to be fair, there's a lot of them.
Are they a
and
bit flaky, the Rolling Stones?
I don't think they're flaky, but I think they're a big team, and they're more prone to ailments, perhaps.
Maybe.
Daniel Skipsey had an experience. We already had Keith Richards. I mean, he does seem to be cropping up a bit.
Okay.
Keith Richards there was a problem with his finger, Pierre, wasn't there?
Yes, he was restringing his guitar.
Yes.
Allegedly.
It's great that he does that himself.
It's very noble of him.
You think he'd found someone? Perhaps he's only got one guitar. He's probably got 1,000.
Daniel Skipsey, a work associate of my dad's, invited us to the Czech Republic to see the Rolling Stones in 2006.
That's the kind of work associates you want.
Yeah. You sure you know someone at Absolute Radio?
Not who would invite me to the Rolling Stones gig in the Czech Republic.
No. They did invite us to Rolling Stones gig
London Stadium.
Yeah,
that was
we
brilliant.
went. Yeah.
And did they show up?
Yeah, we had a great time.
I'll say they did. They showed up and then some.
Whoa.
Yeah. The morning after we booked flights, the show was postponed as Keith Richards, for it is he again,
Changing his...
was in hospital. No, do you know what happened this time?
Oh, I remember this.
Falling from a tree.
Oh, I do remember that, yeah.
We
Big
flew
news.
to Prague anyway for no reason, but we still had a good time. I do remember the tree incident.
Or is
I think
Mr. Richards just a malingerer?
Well, what was he? I can't picture him. I can't picture him climbing a tree. Can you?
Oh, I can.
Can you?
Wasn't it done in...
Maybe he sleeps in a tree like the young Komodo dragon.
Perhaps.
It's got
For
something.
safety of
There is
predators.
something quite barky about him.
He
Yeah.
looks like a tree, that's for sure.
Just the texture. He's got a barky skin, and that's no bad thing.
If I saw his face in the knot of a tree,
Yeah.
I'd
I
assume
have.
the tree was talking to me. I wouldn't assume that he was sticking his head through.
No, I can see that.
I have
Yeah.
seen his face in the knot of a tree.
He gave Pocahontas all that advice in the film.
That could be a good Halloween costume for him. Just stick his head through the trunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, wise old
Or
tree.
just go naked. With an owl on his shoulder.
And a bit of fake tan.
What do you think I've come as? A tree?
Yeah. He's got one of those laughs.
Yeah. He just sticks a little green leaf on the end of his cigarette.
Oh, God, I wondered where that was going.
Who are your top three people that laugh like that? Keith Richards.
Yeah, Shane McGowan.
You had him on your chat show.
When he was on my chat show, he would laugh. His first laugh, he went... And the audience were looking around, they thought it was interference. Honestly, nobody knew. Nobody knew where it was coming from. Fantastic.
I highly recommend looking it up on YouTube. It's extraordinary.
Oh, he was brilliant, though, I have to say.
He was?
I don't think I could come up with the third person who...
Muttley.
Motley was one of our...
That's true.
I can't do the asthmatic one.
Rod Emmett, quickly, Derek Acora once genuinely cancelled a gig due to unforeseen circumstances.
That can't be right, can it?
Well,
Perhaps it was it Joe? His, what's he called, Joe?
what, his assistant?
He's familiar. He had a familiar.
What's it
maybe.
called, Joe?
I thought it was Joe, but if anyone knows the name of Derek Acora's familiar, could you just give us
Anyone
a quick
from the
text,
World of
8 12 50? They're not open yet, the World of Spirits.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
The switchboard has exploded at our ignorance. It was, of course, Sam. It was Derek Acora's spirit
the
guide.
familiar, yes.
Iona Faz, Barefoot Blogger, Kev Shaw, Louise Pyle, all the heavy hitters piling in on us.
Thank you very much. It must have been, when you've had like a pen pal for years and you finally meet. That's what it must have been like when old Derek ascended.
Yes.
Yeah, I hope they got on.
Do you think everyone up there went, look who's here.
Yeah.
Him again.
I bet Derek was thinking, I always assumed you were a blonde. Anyway.
Boys, I'd like to raise something with you. There's a woman I've encountered in the news cycle, and she's become something of an icon to me.
Okay.
This woman went viral after posting about a first date in which she decided to order 48, I believe it was 48 oysters.
Oh, yes.
Her date was so disgusted by her decadence and greed that he made his excuses and left. He went to the bathroom, he said, I'm going to the loo, and he just never came back. I mean, who hasn't been there?
I imagine the shell stack provided cover for his escape. The high shell stack on her side of the table.
It looked like a midden.
Yeah.
Sort of Bronze Age midden had piled up like you get in the Orkneys or something.
This woman is called Equanabe because everybody is something. Everyone has an initial rather than a surname these days,
Yes.
as we know.
Oh, yeah.
And
Dustin G, of course, started that.
they're not like that, Frank.
No,
That's not an
okay.
example.
Oh, okay.
It's more Cardi B,
Yes.
Charlie XCX.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, don't send any in. We just
Please don't send any in.
Yes.
But basically, my issue is she was at a place, because I accept that is excessive for
This is a
oysters.
first date, yeah?
It's a first
Yeah.
date. However, he picked the venue. He had said, do you want to meet for drinks? He'd been texting her. So he did say drinks. However, he suggested meeting at Fontaine's Oyster House in Atlanta. Okay?
He was a good golfer. Peter Oysterhouse.
I was going to say, I think Fontaine Oysterhouse was a crucial player in this year's World Cup in the rugby.
Okay,
Why
so
take
yeah,
someone to an establishment called Fontaine's Oyster House if the prospect of eating oysters is so unacceptable?
I
to
think
you?
that's a reasonable point.
Okay.
I think that's reasonable. I think the problem arises with 48 oysters and sides. Lest we
Sides
forget
as well.
sides as well.
What sides are an
She
issue
ordered-
to you?
What's the sides? Tabasco.
48 oysters and crab cakes and red-skinned
Oh
potatoes.
my goodness! Reminds me of last Saturday when we took Tim Key out and he ordered the lobster.
Do you know he did,
He
didn't he?
did.
He went a bit lottery winner.
Opportunist,
He,
exactly.
he went very lottery winner on us. He went spend.
If you take a poet to lunch, he will indulge.
He would order the lobster. Yes, indeed. If he's listening, obviously we didn't mind paying for that.
Well, we did notice.
We noticed.
Yeah.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
The oyster lady.
We're discussing Equanabe and the 48 oysters.
So he was expected to pay the guy.
Well,
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. She said he texted her afterwards and said, I think because he asked her out for the date, I think it would be assumed that the asker might pick up the tab and chose and the location chooser.
Yeah.
And what was the location he chose, guys?
I believe it was Fontaine's Oyster Bar.
The very same.
I was once taken out. Well, the first time my manager took me out for dinner, when the waiter came, he said to the waiter, you can have the menu and the ladies' menu for him.
Oh, that's very nice.
And he brought the ladies' menu, which was a menu with no prices on it.
That's a class act. I like that.
Also, this story is taking place in America, where to this day, even for the young, it's very much the guy who pays on the first date. That's much more of an expectation over there. Than
Well, that's what it was always here. I
I couldn't
couldn't have...
possibly be comment on my views on that, gentleman, but it sure is nice of you if you do insist.
Well, I couldn't have timed it worse because all my dating was done through the period where men were expected to pay.
Yes.
And all my settling down was done by the period where men were expected to share housework and childcare. So I got
God,
the
yeah.
worst of boss. In those days, the men paid, and then they went home and read the newspaper as the wife hoovered under their feet,
Yeah.
and the kids
Yeah.
screamed in the background.
Yeah. You've timed it appallingly.
No, I've had to do all the donkey work. Never
What
mind.
about when I had a date with a man who took me to a car park?
Yeah, but
It's
I don't-
terrible, Frank.
I think you'll find that is Too dark for breakfast. Too dark for breakfast.
It was a nice car park, to be fair.
was it? Okay.
It was one not far from where you live, if you know the one.
But
I mean.
even so, if a man takes you to a car park.
No, it wasn't for that. He said, let's meet there. It was in the daytime.
Okay.
And I parked my car. He didn't even have a car.
Oh.
And then he just said, I thought we'd go for a coffee. And he
I
just
can't
said,
imagine you going out with someone who didn't have a car.
oh, I don't mind that, someone not having a car. And then he said, let's sit on that bench. So we sat on the bench in between all the exhausts and the number plates.
Oh.
And I just thought, are we ever going
Was
to
it
move?
Jeremy Clarkson?
They would take you to a car park.
Exactly.
I know.
I think it is taking advantage.
Do you think so?
48. Who could eat that? I used to do a thing on stage
Yeah.
about oysters.
Pierre could eat 48 oysters.
I used to
man.
say that the first time I had an oyster, it was like licking phlegm off a tortoise.
48 times.
To do that 48 times, really. Also, aren't they aphrodisiacs?
I was going to say, that might be why he fled.
It might be.
He saw this woman loading up and thought, no.
It's a bit-
What's
can't
that
keep-
Mae West one saying? My boyfriend had 12 oysters last night and one of them didn't work.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Nice little quick email from Chris regarding your dog singing.
It wasn't my
efforts.
dog, it was her.
Oh, well, no, your
Yeah.
own impression of a dog
Oh, right,
singing,
yeah,
I should
yes.
say. Chris says, when I was a student in Manchester in the late 70s, there was a pub near Strangeways Prison which had a dog that
Sounds
sang.
nice.
Yeah, it all sounds pretty sunny so far. Pub near Strangeways Prison which had a dog that sang or howled along to Amazing Grace.
Oh, lovely.
After 10 continuous plays of the song on the jukebox, the novelty wore a bit thin.
Yeah, for the dog as well, I should think.
The dog's going, save my voice for tomorrow. All these encores.
My
Sorry.
dad, when he was growing up in County Durham, when he was about 4, my granddad would stand him on the bar with a little flat cap on his head and make him smoke a cigarette. And say, look at the little man. Women had old entertainment in those days.
Oh my God! Can I just
Wow.
say, Absolute Radio does not approve.
No, we disapprove of that.
Yeah.
We didn't know then.
Different time.
The thing that I object to is the cowardly lion behaviour of the man.
Fleeing.
He shouldn't have fled to the bathroom. I understand that he objected, but there are different ways. You can make it clear to a date. I ordered a pie once.
Oh.
Because
Just to see what it was like.
No, do you know? I ordered a pie once. It's very odd. I'd sort of decided I didn't want to go, to use Frank's expression, I didn't want to go down into Love Lane with this man.
All right.
And I thought that a pie
Would put
was,
him off.
yeah.
And-
I sort of felt it was a bit the least romantic thing you could order. I thought it was a bit Desperate Dan and he might get the hint. I don't know what. So I said, I'll have the pie, please. And I did.
I think Kat told me she was on a date once and they were on a bus or the tube
Yes.
or something. And she suddenly said, was it gastroenteritis?
No, I'll tell you exactly what she said. She said, I can't, I'm going to have to go. She said, my kidney has failed.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Gosh, well so did you make sure to eat the pie in a sort of...
Yes, I did. And I said,
In a
I'll have the pie.
non-sensual fashion.
And I ordered it in a very gruff way. I said,
Bonk.
I'll have the pie, please.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I said, I'll have pie, please.
Like an underage drinker. I'll go in the pub. Pint of mild, please.
Could I have a pie?
And the pie came and it was very stinky and large and Desperate Dan.
Yeah.
And I wolfed down the crust. No
Oh.
salad. And, I think it did the job. He never called.
See, that would have drawn me in.
I was going to say, you're playing a dangerous game there with that pie.
Isn't it one of the... You know what I've talked
He'd
before
be in the
about...
bathroom texting his family. I've met the one. She liked big pies.
Yeah.
Deep voice.
Yeah, I've talked before about the flash frames you get early in a relationship.
Yeah.
You know, they get
Sorry?
flash frames in cinema.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
illegal, but it just
Yeah.
imprints a tiny thing on your mind, makes you think, oh. I think I told you once a woman who described Nick Hornby's fever pitch as a novel. And that was it. I knew that was it. It was over. It's non-fiction. But I'll tell you this after, because the producer's having a bit of a thingy with me.
Yeah.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
I was talking about those flash frames that end the relationship. On a first date once, a woman was talking about a bloke at work and saying how two-faced he was. And I said, a man can smile and be a villain. And she goes, oh, you're a clever boy, aren't you? And I thought, this is going to get annoying. If one accepts that in basic terms I am indeed a clever boy,
Yes.
then
yeah.
that could start to get on my nerves.
Frank, what about that bloke? Do you remember that bloke who said to me of someone, oh, she's really zany?
Oh.
And I said
we're
to
so
you,
strict. I wonder how many people have dumped us on the strength of such things.
yeah.
Minor foibles.
I know I was dumped. I won't name her, but I know I was dumped for. Can I say this on breakfast? For tongue kissing.
Oh.
She didn't like it. Why did she just tell me?
I don't like you talking a lot.
Well, I didn't like it much. I did it because I thought it was de rigueur.
No, de rigueur.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think 48 oysters is too much, though. I was not even brave enough to watch the video, 'cause she filmed herself doing this.
Why did she film herself? It's
Because she's a
almost-
maniac.
Because
She's
they all
setting it
film themselves now,
Yes,
Frank.
this has all come to the world's attention through her own efforts. And apparently, many of the comments are saying it may not have been the expense. It may have been the sheer disgusting visceralness of the slurping and
was the greed.
smacking of lips and the actual sounds.
The removal of grit.
Yeah, but I just...
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but
She
it's
looked.
still.
I say she looked. She didn't look like a woman who ate enormous amounts.
What do you mean?
But it's
She
the
looked
sounds.
nice.
The sounds, Frank.
Not that you can. I mean, you can eat
All I
enormous
would
amounts and look
say-
nice. Let me make that.
But all I can say,
I think she's on the
guys,
5-2 diet. I think 5 days of fasting and then 2
2
days.
days of oysters.
I think
Friday, Saturday.
she's on the 48 too.
Yeah.
What I would also say is he shouldn't. Hiding in the toilet is a bit babyish.
He fled
I mean-
through the toilet.
If you're going to hide anywhere, I don't know, the kitchen.
But he fled. He fled.
I think it's
was
too
gone.
late now for a texting, but if anyone wants to get in touch with us in the week, people who've actually left mid-date,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would be. Have you ever done it?
No.
I've contemplated it seriously,
Yeah.
but what I've decided to do is just be objectionable, and then I'll sit there and then they'll leave. Generally, I haven't got the guts to actually leave. Just order pie. That will end it quickly. I tell you, the pie ended it very quickly.
But I've sort of left mid-date, not physically left, but due to heavy drinking, the date has been ended by that old spoil sport unconsciousness.
Yes.
I thought you meant you'd left sort of mentally and
Oh
spiritually.
no, I've done that
Yeah.
many a time.
You've drifted into the different...
I've done that 3 times during this show. No, I've certainly done that. I'm sure we all have. But to actually physically, go, so I'm just going to get to the toilet and then leave, that's quite a thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm imagining, I predated the sort of computer dating. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Just having a hot water bottle. It's a bit cold.
Okay.
I imagine then you must arrive and think, oh no. And then there must be lots of quick exits.
I had a few 1-pint dates, you might say, when I was doing
what's
the
that?
electronic
Is that
computer
with the blood
dating.
transfusion unit?
Yes, yeah, 1
Lady.
pint, 1 biscuit, 48 biscuits later. I fled the blood donation van.
Did you?
It was
Did
all
you
that
just?
slurping.
How did you round it up then? After the 1 pint.
The 1 pint, I think it was always when there was a mutual sense of like, upon clapping eyes on each other, going, no.
Yeah, that's what you want, isn't it?
Yeah.
You want, it's like speed chess or something like that. If once you both press the button.
Yeah.
No,
That's
I
it.
want to drag it out to an agonising conclusion.
Well, it's good. It's good fodder for talking about on the radio.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
true. Giant pies and such.
Exactly.
It could become a tradition. Wait till the pie.
trouble
No, please, I
is,
can do better.
What if I'm ever with anybody and I order a pie?
Look,
Wow.
They'll know.
Can I say this is important? Thanks for listening to the show this morning, and good Lord spares us. Creeks don't rise. We'll be back in this time next week. Now get out.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.